it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
1, 2, 3, move it.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to talk some NBA. Joining the show now, he makes the magic happen for the Bleacher Report. He's Eric Pincus with us here on Jake and Ben. Eric, thank you for a few minutes. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Curious to your thoughts on the Jazz offseason, because it's obvious that winning might not be the top priority next year, but the youth movement has been even further leaned into with the trading of some veterans. So your thoughts on what the Jazz have done this offseason?
Well, excuse me. I think like the expression that they weren't going to do what they did last year, I think Austin Ainge was being truthful. They aren't going to sit older veterans to lose games. So the answer to get to that is to trade them so that they can truly go for it in the terms of letting these young guys play, try not to worry about the scoreboard, because young guys tend not to win games at this point in their careers. And I think a patient fan base can really buy into that if they see the young guys playing hard, trying to win, losing games at the end, which is, kind of how it tends to go. It can make for more of it's just a better product than seeing some of your best guys sit there in street clothes and just not play at all.
So it has been from, covering the team or certainly fans, it has been a bit of a roller coaster, right? Because the lottery certainly didn't break the Jazz way. But then draft comes, and I can tell you the folks over there in that facility are riding pretty high about how it turned out for them. They feel like they got Ace Bailey, who was higher up than 5 on their board, and feel like he's going to be a home run. You have any thoughts on how the draft ended up turning out?
I mean, it was certainly interesting. You know what I mean? It was Ace and his representatives seemed to have, an approach, certainly a point of view on how they wanted to handle the process. They didn't sort of follow the normal ways about it. Didn't really work out with teams the way that prospects usually do. But Ace is a superb talent. Took a minute for everything to sort of settle, and while he's young and needs development, and I wouldn't expect day one for him to come in and dominate the league. He has real high, star potential at that forward position. The kind of forwards that the game of the last however many years has been built around, and some have likened him to a young Paul George, at least to grow into that role. And we're talking the healthy one. Unfortunately, Paul has struggled in recent years to be himself, but it's really about finding young, exciting talent, giving them a good place. I mean, the Jazz, as an organization for a very long time, has been very stable, has put a lot into the development, and has a great coach. So I think this is a good place for someone like Ace Bailey to grow, given the right kind of opportunity and just get out there and play and not necessarily worry about the scoreboard, but get out there and learn how to play and grow into what he can be. So I thought it was a great pick. Once, it was a little touch and go for a minute there. Was he going to show up? And there's no real way to get around it. If a player, whether he wanted to be here or not, he never said that he didn't want to be in Utah, as far as I know. So I think this is a great place for him, and I always root for someone. I root for all the young guys coming in to, find who they are and to get there on the court. So Utah's a good place for him.
Summer League is a funny thing. We've had Summer League here for a long time, and I've covered the one in Vegas. And I refuse to read into Summer League at all for rookies because everything is so new. But sophomores, I'm curious to your take, because the Jazz had kind of both sides of the coin, where Isaiah Collier didn't shoot it well in Summer League, and Jazz fans are a little, that's probably not a good sign. But Cody Williams played great in Summer League, and he didn't show, kind of that aggression and the belonging his rookie season. So I guess my question is, how much do you read into a sophomore Summer League?
Well, I like your line of reasoning. Usually when a rookie comes in in a lot of cases, they haven't necessarily played 5-on-5 actual hoops dating back to March, April, depends on how far they went in the tournament and whatnot. So outside of the workout process to get drafted, a lot of times they're just not in shape at the and when I say not in shape, we're not talking where I am right now at my age. We're talking like absolute basketball elite shape. And then also summer league ball is a mixed bag because it's kind of like G League where it's just different levels of play. It's a team that may not necessarily have the continuity, and players who are better in a system might not show out even in their sophomore year. But I do agree that you want to see that leap in the second year. You want to see like, oh, this guy doesn't belong here anymore. Like this guy is clearly a better player than the players coming in. And so I think, in the case of Collier, it just might be, if you're, a lead guard who is more of a, maybe a system guy, someone who needs to have some organization, some structure, Summer League may not be the best place for him. And Collier may not be a dominant scorer, even in the NBA, but you don't necessarily need that from him. You might just need someone to help organize the offense, play defense at that position. Whereas, like someone like Cody Williams didn't necessarily get the chance to find himself in that first year, not consistently, but he spent a year. All of these sophomores, in theory, have spent a year in the gym. There's usually a noticeable improvement in body after a year in the conditioning and strengthening programs that they have. And then the mental growth in that first year of just understanding how things work, usually you want to see by the time they get to Summer League that they're showing out. But again, like sometimes it'll be a big, and they're playing with guards who don't pass them the ball or, they're gunning for a job. So sometimes you might have a big come in and just you're like, oh, man, they don't look like they've grown. But that's because they're not playing their type of basketball. It might be a great example of why you just have to be careful overreacting to anything you see in Summer League, whether it's a rookie or a sophomore.
All right, I'm going to keep this question super broad on purpose because I'm curious to see where you go. But what do you make of the drama surrounding the Lakers and LeBron this offseason?
Well, I think from an agent's point of view, I work with a lot of agents. I do a lot of consulting and teaching, working, not officially, but consulting with the NBPA. And I can't think of a reason why LeBron would not have opted out to re-sign on what's called a 1+1. A 1+1 is where you have a player option, because all it is you're extending your contract just in case you get hurt for another year, in his case, over $50 million. So there's no reason why LeBron would not do that I can think of. And I've talked to many people, and no one has offered any answer other than the obvious, which is that the Lakers weren't offering it. And so now we have a significant change in this relationship where they have more or less bent over backwards and done whatever LeBron wanted, within reason. And now, with Luka Doncic on the roster, they've shifted to this is now Luka's team instead of LeBron's team. And so there was a little bit of maybe verbal fallout from Rich Paul, in quotes. I didn't talk to Rich, so I can't really speak to what he feels. But, if we just go off of just some of, the quotes that came out, soon after, they definitely suggest that both sides recognize that this marriage is nearing an end. Whether that means he's traded or not in this year, he has a no trade clause. So the Lakers can't trade him, period, unless he says, I want to be traded, and I want to be traded to this team in particular, whatever team that might be. Some have speculated going home to Cleveland. Some have speculated New York. We could probably come up with another 2 or 3. Dallas has been mentioned and whatnot. But trading a guy making that kind of money is not easy. As you get into the season, it gets even harder, although we saw last year Jimmy Butler was traded at a similar price, so it can be done. But the temperature seems to be that the Lakers are going to finish this year with LeBron. And then after this year, he'll either retire or move on to another team. But there's definitely an argument that if LeBron wants another $50-something million next year, that the best path for him to receive that money is via trade because of his rights. It's very difficult for a team to get to what you need, which is cap space, to have that kind of money and then also have a winning team. Teams can get to cap space, but usually that means sacrifice. And so we have to wait and see. This is a potential drama if the Lakers start out slowly, if things don't go well, or if LeBron just becomes unhappy, he could force this out. But it's also very reasonably possible that this is his last year, or we don't have enough information because, Rich Paul, LeBron James, the Lakers aren't going to tell us exactly how they feel with true serum at this moment in time. But reading between the lines, I think this is one of the interesting stories to watch this year.
With injuries being what they are, handicap the East for me? I mean, is it hands down Cleveland the favorite? I mean, who are the favorites in the East now?
Well, I think New York is certainly one of the best teams in the league still. East or West, they were very, very good last year. They fell a little short. Cleveland is right there. Unfortunately, Boston and Indiana aren't what they were. I don't have a ton of faith in the Milwaukee Bucks as constructed without Dame. And while they have made improvements, I don't know if it'll be enough. Detroit and Orlando start to climb from, like borderline play-in to possibly top 4 home court advantage teams. Atlanta made some solid moves. I'm curious to see how they turn out. But, yeah, and certainly I don't want to discount the Sixers. If Embiid is healthy, I know Paul George had a surgery. I would love to see him healthy still. I got to spend some time around Paul in L.A. with the Clippers. And I like I said, I root for people. I root for people to be healthy. I don't root for teams. I root for people I know, and Paul's a good dude. So, it's an opportunity for a team to push in a little harder in the East. West is more competitive. Team like, let's say, the Portland Trailblazers, who didn't make the playoffs last year, they could try to push, or New Orleans at the draft, trading away basically an unprotected first in next year's draft to get Queen in the draft via trade. To me, was a little surprising because of the opposite of what you just said. Like the East is what it is. It's like it looks so wide open, and the West is the opposite. It's so packed that I don't know how New Orleans makes this jump to make that lottery pick safe. I think it was a very bold move, and let's see if it pays off for them. But the East is pretty wide open, and I think the Cavs are absolutely one of the favorites, but I think New York is in that same area.
You are so much nicer than me calling that move bold. Bold. It was bold. You could say that. In the West, how big is the gap between Oklahoma City and everybody else?
I mean, it's not huge. It is very difficult to repeat. They're still an absolutely amazing team that's bringing back more or less everybody. I think they've lost one player via trade. I mean, someone who didn't play. Was it Dylan Jones or one of the Joneses? Kobe Dillon. I don't know. I've lost track because they traded 2 Jones for each other, and that'll just mess up my mind a little bit. But Dallas looks interesting. I don't know if and when Kyrie is healthy, but Cooper Flagg could come in and fill some of that, make them better. Denver got, I think, in ways better. I'm still trying to decide, but I think Houston they were number 2, surprisingly, because they were terrible a couple of years ago, or not terrible, but 3 years ago they were terrible. 2 years ago they were not great. And then last year they just made this leap that usually it was a bigger leap than teams normally make. And so I'm really curious to see what the addition of Kevin Durant does and putting him on a much better team. It's easy to say, he's past his prime. Of course, LeBron's past his prime. There are people who are past their prime who are still absolute powerhouses in this league and are still top 15 or 20 or even top 10. It doesn't matter that they're not what they were necessarily at their best, but you put KD on a very good team that defends with athletes and other players who can, score. And I'm very excited to see. I don't know what the Lakers are. I would say from a point of view, they're better. They were 3rd last year. I don't know if I would put them top 3 or 4 right now. I think they're in that they have potential to be. And then the Clippers, the Clippers are old. They're not built for the long term. this isn't something you would buy and say, oh, yeah, I know that this is going to be a 3, 4, 5 year run. This is a 1 or maybe 2 year run with an older team, but that's okay. If you're a Clipper fan whose franchise has never won an NBA title, this would be a year to join the bandwagon if that's your thing. Steph, you can't forget him. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and I'm probably leaving someone out. Like the West, Minnesota, there's a lot of talent in there. Oklahoma City's still the best, and they're going to stay the best, and I'll continue to have them as the best until proven otherwise, or some sort of issue, or God forbid an injury or something like that. But yeah, there's going to be a tighter race in the West than there will be, at least on paper, than in the East.
Christian and I have a pool going on who the Clippers' next signing would be, and I said Tim Hardaway Sr. Sorry, I had to get that joke in. Eric, you are great. Thank you very much for jumping on with us. We love your stuff. We'll continue to follow.
All right, anytime. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.